Assalamu alaikum students. Today's topic is classes and objects in Java. As you people have gone through the concept of object-oriented programming in different semesters, and Java does support the same. That means Java is purely object-oriented programming language which supports classes and objects. In today's lecture, we are going to deliberate what are classes, what are objects, what are different types of classes that are available within the Java. The first thing that we are going to discuss is what are classes. The second thing that we are going to deliberate is what are objects. After that, we will see what are different types of classes that Java supports. In today's lecture, we are going to see these three topics. First, let us come to the class. Class is the basic element of object-oriented language and is used in Java as well. The Java uses classes to encapsulate the code from the unauthorized access of the code available within the class. In order to use the code, one must understand that the concept of classes and objects. That means in order to understand the Java, first we need to understand what are the concepts of classes and objects. If we are very clear with the concept of classes and objects, then we can move further and try to build some other code based on these classes and objects. Now the classes can be defined as a template. That means it acts as a template for we people where we are going to store the data. And the objects are defined as instance of these class, and with the help of the objects we are able to access those particular data or those particular instructions that we have stored in terms of our class. The class the class and this object have close relation with each other. That means when there will be a template, we have an object, it can be accessed with the help of these objects. The class can contain data members, methods, constructors, blocks, interfaces. The main motivational thing in classes is that the classes are able to define the new data type which is of type of class itself. Let us see first how classes can be defined or what are the general syntax of our class. It will have a keyword called class, then class name, and then after we will have open braces, we have closing braces. And within those two braces, there exists a data member, there might exist methods or other things which are available within the Java class. We can say that within the Java, when a data member or a variable is defined, it is termed as instance variable. Or in other terms, we can say that within the Java, variables variables can be of three types. First one will be the local variable. Second one, we can say it will be an the second one, the second type of the variable that we can face in Java are we call them as instance variable. The third type that we can face in Java are class variables. Let us discuss one by one what is difference between your local variable, instance variable, and class. Your local variable are a variable which are declared inside method and can be or uh, or and are destroyed once we leave the method. That means it is local to the method that where it has been declared. Second one is the instance variable. The instance variable are declared inside class but outside method. That means local variables were those particular variables which were declared inside the method of a class, but they are declaring the instance variables are declared inside the class but outside the method. The third variable, those we call as a class variable, are declared inside class but outside method, but with static label. So those particular variables which are declared inside the class outside the method with the static variables label, we call that is a class variable. And those are the three particular range of variables what we can see within our Java class. Now, when we talk about it was about the Java class that acts as a template for we people, and it has it has a data member, it has methods, it has local variable, instance variable, or class variable. But in order to invoke the same thing, what we need the objects which are available in the Java. What are objects? Simply, an object or an entity which has state and behavior is known as object. That means a variable or an entity which has a state or a behavior is known as an object in general terms. The object might be either physical or logical with the following characteristics. What are those characteristics? It has a state and behavior. It has a state and behavior. Say, for example, on off. A switch. Say, for example, switch is an object. It has state as on and off. It has behavior as turn on and turn off. This is how we can relate it with the real world. That means switch is an object which has the states on and off, and it has a behavior as turn on as turn. Similarly, if we have a particular variable to be called as an object of that class, it will have the state of that particular class and the behavior of that particular class. Now let us take first example how we can create a class and how we can access the variables of our particular class with the help of the object. So let's demonstrate it on NetBeans. Say let's make new Java class and we are using as demo. Say demo 1. Let us see it has a public static void main. Let us make it as a entry class for our Java program. But before this, let us have one more class, say class input. Let us say have like this int num1 int num2. Is it? And that's it with the class input. And within the second class, what we are going to use, we are going to use the class or the instance variables of our class first, that is the input class. What we are going to use within this, we are going to create first the object. If we are going to write like that, input say obj like this, that means input is our class but obj is a variable, it will become an instance variable. It will not be a simple variable. It will be it's of type class, uh, derived within the class or declared within the class. But and the second thing is that the class input or the object which is going to link the class input does not have memory yet. How can it achieve memory? It is with the help of the new class. New. Now it become an object. This part is exactly the object. New input. That's highlighted here. This is actually the input and object, and object is being assigned to an instance class. Now we will have a particular instance to that particular object or to that particular class. Now when we talk about this particular thing, we will see that we will object dot num1, say num1 is equivalent to 10 and object dot num2 is equivalent to 20. So the class or the variables which were declared in the class input, now we are going to use with the help of the object in another class. Say we are going to use some particular variable in sum equivalent to obj dot num1 plus obj dot num2. What we are going to use? We are going to use system.out.print summation of variables of input class is equivalent to, it will be plus sum. Is it? Now if we are going to run this particular program, how it will show me it will show me a 30, a summation of your particular class is equivalent to 30. Here within this example we have defined first class will define two variables, say num1 and num2. This class only defines the variables. Remember it only defines. We are not yet assigning anything. It defines the variable. Now we have second class, which is say demo1, which is going to use the variables defined in the input class. That means those with num1 and num. For the same reason, we need to create an object of that particular class, which is of type input. And that was done with the help of this keyword new, because whenever we are going to create an object, we have to use the new keyword to create an object of that particular class. And this section, we call this as an instance variable, and this will act as a particular class. That means it will be an object, and object is being assigned to an instance variable, and it will become an object for we people. And with the help of these instance variable, with the help of the dot operator, we are going to access the object or the member functions, member variables, or instance variables of the existing class to which it belongs. And after that, we have taken the summation of object1 and object2 and print the same. Hope you are getting my point, how we are going to access a class code from outside. That means up to this, we have seen two different classes, two different separate classes. This is class 1 and this is class 2. And we are using the class 1 in the class 2. Now there exists one more concept. We call them as nested classes. So far within these lectures, you have seen nested conditional statement, nested control statement. And just like these, we have nested class. What does nested class mean? This means class within another class. Java permits us to do so the same thing as we have in nested conditional statements and nested control statements. Java does provide us the mechanism to have nested classes as well. Your nested classes can be defined in two categories. One is non-static nested class, and second one is static nested class. And when we talk about non-static nested class can be further divided into it will be member inner class, second one will be anonymous, inner class, third one will be local inner class. And static nested class has only one, that is itself static nested class. When we talk about in general, the inner classes are the nested classes. This means a class, say for example A, and inside it there is class B. It is somehow class within the class. But when we come to the exact portion in which category it falls, we need to understand what are different types of the nested class. Let us take first the member inner class. Let us demonstrate it practically how member inner class will work. Let us make one more class file by the name of nested classes. So let us delete this. When we talk about the first, we call it as a member inner class. A member inner class is created with the non-static nature inside of another class, but outside the method of outer class. Remember this particular definition that I am going to repeat again. That when you need to create or when you are creating a member inner class, it should be non-static in nature inside another class or inside this particular class that we call as a nested class, but outside the methods of your outer class, that's the nested class here. That means it will have member inner class will have like this. Say it will have a code here for inner class, outer class, and it will have code here. That means after the code we have another class, but this class should be outside of the methods of outer class. Here outer class, this nested class will act as an outer class for VP. Let's take one example. Let's take like this. And nested that inner class, member inner classes does have one property that it can access the private members or private data members and methods of the outer class as well. That means if our members, our data members or our variables are being declared private, still we are able to access those particular variables within our inner class as well. Let's just say, let's take an example. Say our nested class will act as an outer class, and let us just we say private int n equivalent to 30, comma m equivalent to 20. This is private to the class which we have specified as nested. Now say for example, we don't have any method here, we have class directly. We have class say inner. And within the inner class, what we have? We have a particular method, we call it say void sum. Is it? And when we talk about void sum, that there braces some sort of braces. Okay, this will be so we have a particular void sum, and while we are going to use the system.out.println, what we are going to print? We are going to print the summation of our n. That means summation sum is equivalent to what? Say we say plus n plus m. That means they are directly accessible to our inner class as well. We don't need to create an object. However, when we talk about this, when this particular class will be over, we need to have public static void main for our outer class. Is it? And within the outer class, what we need like this. Outer class is nested class. Is it? Nested nested class n will be equivalent to new nested class. Is it? That means we have created the object of the outer class. And if we are going to use like this n dot sum, so will it be okay for we people? Because there might exist, it will throw an error as we have seen here. What it says? It says cannot find symbol sum or method sum. Because there exists an ambiguity. If there exist multiple inner classes within the same class, say for example, there exists one more class, we call that as a class second inner, and second inner will have the same method void sum, and it will have same thing control sum, control C, by pasting same. This within the outer block, that is nested class, we have two inner classes, class inner, class second inner. And within the inner, we have sum, and second inner, we have sum. And here n doesn't know which particular thing we need to call. In order to avoid this ambiguity, what they have decided to make a reference for inner class as well. Will be equivalent to the object of inner outer class, that means n dot new inner. That means it will create an instance or the reference for inner class as well. Now, when we talk about like this statement, nn dot sum, what it will see, if we are going to run this particular file, it will give us value 50. Say in this particular we are multiplying it. Is it? It will be multiple. And in this program, we are getting some equivalent to. But if we need to invoke this particular thing, what we need the same thing. Nested class dot. Now it will not be inner class, it will be the reference of second inner class. The second class, the object of the second class can be defined like this. We have nested class dot second inner class, say s will be equivalent to n dot new second inner class, and within this s dot sum. Is it? Now if we are going to run the same program, it will give us two outputs. One, that means sum is equivalent to 60, and second, multiply is equivalent to 600. That means we have two classes within the outer class. Nested class में दो class है, एक है inner class, एक है second inner class. Inner class में भी sum function है, second inner class में भी sum function. और second of inner class जो sum function करता है execute, वो summation of two numbers करता है, मगर second inner class जो है वो multiplication of two numbers, मगर दोनों functions का नाम same ही है. जब हम invoke करते हैं, how to invoke the inner class methods and variables, what we need to create the object of first outer class, that is the nested class here, and after that with the help of the outer class we are going to create an object of inner class, that means outer dot inner, then the object equivalent to the outer object dot the inner object, that is new inner. And with the help of these inner objects, we are going to invoke the function. Same is with the second inner. Hope that you have understood the concept of classes, the concept of the objects, how to use those objects, and after that we have taken the inner classes, how inner classes look like, and after that we have taken the first category of inner classes, that is non-static inner classes, and within the non-static we have taken the first type of the class that we call as a member inner class, and we have demonstrated it with the help of an example how member inner class will look like, and how it can be accessed with the help of the object, and how outer class will act as its part, and how inner class will be invoked with the help of the outer class. Students, you should try to practice these classes very oftenly at home, because we are not getting enough time to demonstrate more examples related to these. Hope you have understood the concept and will try to implement other concepts in near future. And within the coming lecture, we are going to take the rest of the three topics that is left out among this particular topic. So, inshallah, in next topic, we are going to demonstrate the rest of the non-static inner class and the inner class. Thank you very much.